Welcome to another book summary. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy. Introduction. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Mark Manson opens The Subtle Art of Not Giving a FCK by challenging the modern obsession with positivity and happiness. He argues that life is inherently full of problems, and that the key to a fulfilling life isn't about trying to avoid or solve all of them, but rather about choosing which problems and struggles you care about, i.e., choosing which things you give a FCK about. Instead of obsessing over what's wrong in your life, Manson suggests that accepting life's inevitable challenges and embracing responsibility for your problems is more liberating. The book's core philosophy revolves around finding meaning in life by carefully selecting your values, living by them, and letting go of the societal pressures that lead to unnecessary anxiety. Chapter 1. Don't try. In the first chapter, Manson draws on the idea that constant striving for self-improvement can actually lead to a feeling of inadequacy. He introduces the feedback loop from hell, where trying to be happy makes us more unhappy because it highlights our dissatisfaction. Manson refers to this as the paradox of success. By embracing your flaws and accepting your limits, you free yourself from the constant pressure to be something you're not. This chapter explores the importance of accepting failure as part of the process of living a meaningful life. Manson argues that people should stop giving a FCK about superficial goals like wealth, success, or happiness, and instead focus on what truly matters. Key takeaway: true self-improvement comes from embracing failure, limitations, and imperfections, and choosing the values that genuinely reflect who you are. Chapter 2. Happiness is a problem. Manson introduces the concept that life is inherently a series of problems. The belief that happiness can be achieved through avoiding or eliminating problems is false, as problems are never-ending and will always exist. According to Manson, the secret to happiness lies in choosing which problems to solve, not in avoiding them entirely. The chapter emphasizes that happiness is a byproduct of solving meaningful problems and finding purpose in those solutions. Manson also talks about the value of suffering, suggesting that the pursuit of meaningful goals inevitably involves hardship, and that embracing suffering as part of the process of growth is essential. Key takeaway: happiness comes from solving problems that are meaningful to you. Trying to avoid problems or run from hardship will only lead to dissatisfaction. Chapter 3. You are not special. Manson tackles the cultural narrative that everyone is unique, special, and destined for greatness. He critiques this mentality, suggesting that it creates unrealistic expectations and entitlement. By constantly believing that we deserve something better, we end up feeling inadequate when reality doesn't meet these inflated expectations. The antidote to this entitlement, according to Manson, is to adopt a sense of humility. He encourages readers to embrace the idea that they are not exceptional and that mediocrity is perfectly fine. Manson claims that by accepting our ordinary nature, we remove unnecessary pressure and can focus on the things that genuinely matter. Key takeaway: let go of the idea that you are special or destined for greatness. Embrace humility and focus on what's truly meaningful, instead of chasing unrealistic dreams of success and significance. Chapter 4. The value of suffering. This chapter dives into the idea that much of our suffering stems from our values. Manson argues that not all values are created equal, and that unhealthy values, like material success, fame, or superficial approval, will inevitably lead to suffering. In contrast, healthier values, such as honesty, integrity, and humility, lead to more sustainable and meaningful happiness. Manson encourages readers to carefully examine their values and to change them if necessary. This process of value reassessment allows individuals to focus on what is truly important, rather than chasing superficial goals that do not lead to lasting fulfillment. Key takeaway: reevaluate your values. Your suffering is largely determined by what you value. Choose values that lead to growth and meaning, rather than superficial success. Chapter 5. You're always choosing. One of the book's central messages is that we are constantly making choices, whether we realize it or not. Even when life feels out of control, Manson stresses that we still have the power to choose how we respond to any given situation. The way we react to problems and challenges is a reflection of our chosen values. Manson discusses the importance of taking responsibility for your own choices, and he emphasizes that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can always control your response. This chapter shifts the focus from blaming external circumstances to taking ownership of your life. Key takeaway: you always have control over how you respond to life's challenges. Take responsibility for your choices and reactions, and align them with your deeper values. Chapter 6. You're wrong about everything. But so am I. In this chapter, Manson talks about the fluid nature of human beliefs and how our perceptions of reality are constantly changing. He introduces the idea that being wrong is an inevitable part of the human experience, and that the sooner we accept this, the better off we'll be. Manson encourages readers to embrace doubt and uncertainty, arguing that it's impossible to have all the answers. By accepting that we will always be wrong about something, we open ourselves up to growth and learning. The pursuit of truth is less about being right all the time and more about constantly improving our understanding. Key takeaway: embrace the fact that you're wrong about many things and stay open to growth, change, and new perspectives. Chapter 7. Failure is the way forward. Failure is a recurring theme throughout the book, and this chapter specifically addresses the notion that failure is an essential part of success. Manson argues that many people fear failure and, as a result, avoid taking risks that could lead to meaningful outcomes. He emphasizes that the path to growth is filled with failure, and that avoiding failure stifles progress. Manson introduces the concept of the do-something principle, where taking action leads to more motivation, which leads to more action. In this way, forward momentum can be created, even if it means failing along the way. Key takeaway: failure is not the end, but an essential step on the path to success. Embrace failure, learn from it, and keep moving forward. Chapter 8. The importance of saying no. In this chapter, Manson explains the importance of boundaries and how saying no can lead to greater focus and personal growth. Many people are afraid of saying no because they don't want to miss out or disappoint others. However, Manson argues that having clear boundaries allows individuals to prioritize what truly matters and avoid distractions. Saying no to things that don't align with your values allows you to focus on the things that do. This chapter stresses the importance of commitment and how narrowing your focus to fewer, more meaningful things leads to a more fulfilling life. Key takeaway: set boundaries, say no to distractions, and focus on what's truly meaningful in your life. Chapter 9. And Then You Die. The final chapter focuses on the inevitability of death and how coming to terms with your mortality can lead to a richer, more meaningful life. Manson argues that many people avoid thinking about death, but by embracing it, you gain clarity on what truly matters. The reality of death helps put life into perspective and encourages us to focus on what's most important. Manson suggests that accepting death helps us live more fully in the present, take more meaningful risks, and live in alignment with our values. By confronting our fear of death, we free ourselves from superficial concerns and learn to appreciate the time we have. Key takeaway: accept the inevitability of death as a way to clarify what truly matters in life and live with more purpose and meaning. Conclusion: the subtle art of not giving a fuck offers a refreshing take on self-improvement by advocating for a more honest, value-driven approach to life. Instead of chasing superficial goals like wealth and happiness, Manson encourages readers to focus on what truly matters, to embrace suffering and failure as part of the journey, and to take ownership of their choices. By learning to give a FCK about the right things and letting go of the rest, you can live a life that is more fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with your true values. Thank you so much for listening. We would love if you follow and comment what you'd like to hear next. And until next time, have a good one.